And welcome. Another edition of our Thursday Coaches Corner, where each and every Thursday, Coach Serrano and myself take the time to speak with college coaches across the country, all levels, all divisions, in hopes of sharing with you, parents and student athletes, to be able to gain some insight and information as it pertains to all aspects of college baseball. And today I am honored to be joined by what I consider to be one of the Mount Rushmore of current college baseball coaches, right up there with Coach Maneri, Coach Corbin, Coach John Savage, head baseball coach at UCLA. John, thank you so much for taking the time to join me today.
My pleasure, Walter. Really appreciate you having me.
John, one of the first topics that I would like to broach, as many parents are aware of, UCLA, with regard, you're under your tutelage, with regard to pitching, first and foremost. You've sent a lot of athletes, student athletes, onto the major league draft, but in particular pitchers, Cy Young Award winners, first round draft picks. We're talking Trevor Bauer, Garrett Cole, Barry Zito, amongst the several that you've sent onto professional baseball. I would love for you to discuss, as a college coach, how are you evaluating high school pitchers that may potentially be able to pitch at UCLA?
Well, I think it's a constant evaluation of body type, deliveries, stuff, command, projection, secondary. There's a lot that goes into what you see and what you think is going to happen, and it's you really got to get to know the individual clearly, see what sort of makeup that you're dealing with, what sort of desire, what sort of toughness, what sort of IQ, really, in terms of what they're doing, how they're going about it, how they're training, how they're preparing for that next step, which is clearly college. So it's a fun process. I don't like rankings per se. I was back in the early 90s where you had to go and evaluate and find them yourself. Nobody was helping anybody. And I think that was a great foundation to really understand, what you're looking for, what sort of profile, what sort of projection, and then, get to know that person, get to see their transcripts, meet their family, see how much they value development, how much they value education. So it's a bunch of boxes that you have to check when you're talking about recruiting a high-end player, particularly a pitcher, that you think is not only going to help you right away, because it is a instant framework these days that you're looking for guys that could come in and pitch right away. And, I've had first rounders that pitched out of the bullpen the first year and then evolved into starters the second year or the third year, maybe even turned into Friday night guys pretty quickly. But it's all about anything good takes time is how I look at it. And it's a constant evaluation of, step one, pitching 101, pitching 102, pitching 103, advancing them at the right pace and not getting ahead of things when they don't need that. They can't do that. They can't go hit a layup in Pauley. They need to be able to do certain things before you move on. So I love the progression of the development of a pitcher, watching them move, looking at their data, looking at their metrics, seeing how that matches the eyes, the blend of I don't want to say old school, new school, but really the blend of what that what works, the step. They can't skip steps. They just cannot skip steps in their development. So, I can sit here all day, as you can tell, in terms of, what makes a Bruin pitcher, what makes a high level professional pitcher. A lot of the qualities are the same, but the look, the delivery, the slot, the body type, the grips, the command, the different style of pitches. I mean, there's all sorts of different. You don't want a cookie cutter. You know, we don't believe in that. We do believe in information, and we do believe in stuff needs to be installed. And then when they're going in to be professional players, they have what they need. They know what they need to do. They know how to work. They know how to what to work on, what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are. So it's a 3-year cycle for me. I want them for 3 years. I don't need them for 4. I don't need them for 5. I don't really like them for 1. I like them for 3. And then by the time they hit that junior year, there's just so much has been installed that they're ready to be a professional. They're professionals. They're pros before pros. And that's what I'm trying to get in terms of their everyday habits, off the field, how they, intertwine with teammates, how they handle the game. Handling the game is really the secret to this whole, their success a lot of times in terms of, different lineups and, different conditions and, all sorts of different variables that will be thrown at them throughout their career that they can handle altitude, they can handle cold, they can handle heat, they can handle dry, they can handle humidity, they can handle, we want to always say that our pitchers will travel and they will go and be who they are wherever you want them to be. And they'll pitch at any time, anywhere. That's where we really are trying to eventually get them there. And so the evaluation, back to your question, I can get into that, but in terms of fastball command and deliveries and of course, families and what's a mom look like? What's the dad look like? What's the brother look like? What's the grandfather? What sort of projection are we talking about in terms of genetics? So there's a lot of factors and some guys look like Trevor Bauer. Some guys look like Sonny Gray. Some guys look like Roy Oswald. Some guys, Mike Hampton. I mean, there's all kinds of different body types.
Well, one of the kind of foundation pieces of a UCLA pitcher is they control the pace of the game. They control a running game. They field their positions well, but more importantly, they control the pace of play. They attack the zone. They keep their infielders and outfielders engaged. I would love for you to kind of talk about that kind of discussion point as far as the transition from a high school pitcher, which is metrics and velocity, to what you're doing at the college level. All right, there we go. We're going to pick that right back up, right where we left off, because that was perfect. That's okay. No worries. No worries. No worries.
Gosh darn it.
Let's see. Just hit record. All right. Recording. All right. Now we're going to just pick it right up from here.
Okay, so in terms of just the evaluation, it's just it's a feel, it's an experience, it's a look, it's a gut feel, and then all these sorts of ingredients that the athlete brings. And then if those intertwine and those mix, a lot of times you deal with the professional industry on guys. You may get a guy and then the Lucas Giolito, Max Fried, Hunter Green. I mean, I can go on and on about guys that
coulda, woulda, shoulda.
we lost, and
Right.
Tyler Chatwood. I mean, it goes on, but that's a really good question, and people like different style pitchers. I mean, the breaking ball, we can get into the breaking ball, but I do like to see a breaking ball. I'm not smart enough to sit here and say, oh, I can give that guy a breaking ball or give that guy 2 breaking balls. And, I do want to see some sense of spinning the ball. And I think that's where the metrics comes in, and, hand slot and on the ball and different things that will equate to, being able to have successful secondary pitches.
One of the kind of the finer assets that all UCLA pitchers have that I've noticed over the years is the ability to control the pace of a game. They control the running game. They're competing in a strike zone with 2 or 3 pitches consistently. They keep their infielders, outfielders engaged. Can you talk a little? Is that something that you're practicing off season, in season, as far as controlling the running game, fielding your position, getting your infielders involved in games, keeping them on their toes?
I think so. I mean, we work really hard on, that team defense connected to the pitcher catcher, pitch calling, sequencing, where we're at defensively, where's the ball is, where do we want the ball to go? Is it easy defense? Is it strikeouts and pop-ups? Is it a ground ball guy? And, what do we have? Where are we playing on certain guys? So I think completeness is how I would say it. I looked at Garrett Cole. Garrett Cole, I think, had 1 stolen base against him in his junior year. And he was, 98 to 100 or 97, So we're not a slide step operation. We call it a quick step. And it's a normal, I think handling a running game is really about pace. It's about holds. It's about short holds, long holds, disrupting the timing of the base runner, disrupting the timing of the hitter. Our number 1 philosophy is keep the hitter off first base. The second philosophy is to keep the runner at first base, and it's just a ongoing thing. We don't overkill, I guess you would say, the PFP, but we want them to be very athletic. We want them to be athletic in their deliveries. We want them to be quick and athletic and short in their movements off the mound. So there's a lot that goes into, the windup and the stretch, and where does it, do they keep their stuff? You've seen it hundreds of times where a guy's 94 in the windup and he's, 91 in the stretch, and his command is not as good, or that high school pitcher that goes 1, 2, 3 through the first 3 innings, and then a guy gets on base in the 4th, and then all hell's breaking loose. And so it is a practice. It is a bullpen, different bullpen, situations, game situations. We do want them to be able to make pitches and control the running game. So we practice a lot on that. It's about fastball command, in and out and up and down, and, hard and soft, and, differentials, and where do we want the ball hit with the runner on first? Like I said, when I say easy defense, for me, it's strikeouts and pop-ups. I mean, it's fly balls. Now it's fly balls that stay in the ballpark, of course. So it's, we take a lot of pride in completeness in terms of, the ability to play catch, the throwing programs, footwork, direction, having awareness of commanding the ball within 90 feet, and outside of 90 feet, we we kind of put weight on the bar and we build up their long toss program stuff. So a lot of it goes into, dealing with the game. I mean, I think there's a lot of people that don't deal with the game enough and inside the game and how difficult the game is. And, you obviously had a son that pitched for a long, long time. And, that first hitter takes a little flare swing and, it's a little roller down the third base line. And then the next 22 pitches are in the stretch. And there's a runner at first, and really he's done nothing to put himself in that situation. It's the game. And you have to anticipate playing the game. And, I think the stolen base clearly has come back big in professional baseball. So you see the people that are just flat out exposed, and they're giving up doubles and they're giving up triples without just, with walks and singles. And it's just too easy to score against that guy. It's just too easy for the run children run. It's a concept. It's early outs. It's the ability to, I always say, and I said that in the convention, of, getting those 3 outs and keeping that guy at first base. I mean, you can't do it any better than that. And so I don't hit him over the head, I would say, Walter, on that. But I think it's about handling the game, controlling the game. I love the shot clock. People say, oh, you don't like I love the shot clock. I mean, I love the pace of the game. I love, the urgency of the game. I mean, the major league game is much quicker than the college game still, but still, there's no time for, these long periods of a non-pitch. Those days are over with. And I think it's better for fan experience. It's better for the game. You're at the ballpark a lot less. It's a 2.5 to 3 hour game. It's really, these guys are looking to play that sort of pace of a game. And I just think that, the level of defenses clearly have improved. If you hit the ball in those areas, particularly at the professional level, you anticipate people being out most of the time. So we do want, you got to know who you are. I mean, are you a contact guy? Are you a swing and miss guy? Are you a right on right, left on left? There's a lot of left-handers that can get right-handers out. They have a hard time getting left-handers out. And I know some right-handed pitchers that have a tough time getting right-hand hitters out. It's you got to know really what they are, what they can do, and really ultimately what sort of role you want to put these guys in. And we've been almost right 99% of the time. When they were starters here, they were starters there. We've had 4 or 5 relievers here that never started a game that are relievers in the major leagues. That that's what they are, and that's okay. I mean, that dynamic has really changed in terms of the starting pitching, as you know. I mean, you will as well as anybody. I mean, is it the second time through? Is it the third time through? That's what makes Garrett Cole, right? I mean, he can get through 20. He can get through 27 hitters, or at least in that range of hitters. So, and that's not easy to do, to get somebody out 3 times. It's just that there's so much scene time, and there's so much. There's so much attention to what that guy has or what he doesn't have. No breaking ball, no inner half presence. Everything's down in the zone. There's a lot of, hitters don't really need data to know what this guy is in the box. I mean, it helps them. They have those tabs, and they have data, and they have areas where they want to go to and where they want to, stay out of. But it's still a game, and people make mistakes. And, I tell the guys all the time, they go and script Kershaw's inning tonight. Go script Walker Buehler's inning, and there'll be a lot of good there, but there'll be a couple, there'll be some missteps in there. Nobody's perfect. And the game, it's all about really the next pitch and the ability to bounce back, and the ability to recover and not be sped up. And so we take a lot of pride in composure and moxie within the game, and the ability to control the game. And it's hard because, it's, particularly at the professional level, at the minor league level, a lot of times you don't even know who you're throwing to half the time, and who's catching you, who's calling the game, and where your defenses are. And the scout reports are a little, kind of iffy. And, obviously when you get to the I assume the AAA, AA, AAA level, and okay, people are pretty much scored away and they know what they're doing, and then there's reports and so forth. But it's we really want to teach them how to pitch to a report, how to pitch to their strengths. The weaknesses we stay away from, and we stay away from guys' weaknesses, and we can work on those in the bullpen, and then put those into the game slowly. But there's certain things that we have to put that pitcher in the best possible position to have success.
One of the main topics that I try to discuss with parents and student athletes that are currently at the high school level is their ability to execute. Meaning, as a college baseball coach, we talk about situational hitting, situational pitching, situational defense. Can you talk about the focus on that transition from high school player to college player, on understanding their role and their ability or the necessity to execute based on your game plans at UCLA?
Well, that's I always say you never know what you have until you get it. And you may see this guy pitch 4 high school games and 3 summer games and think that this fastball commands elite, or thinks that and then all of a sudden you get him, and you really have to put him in situations to particularly in the fall of hey, okay, it's a big pitch. Okay, let's throw that third pitch. Let's develop that third pitch. Let's have three number ones or 4 number ones, and then usages, and then the usages is huge. I mean, it's just what needs to be used more, what needs to be used less. Where are things in the windup? Where are things in the stretch? Where are things when the ball's near the hitter? Is it harder? Is it softer? A lot of times it's softer. Guys don't throw a lot of times as hard when they learn how to throw in. There's a little tentativeness there. There's a little cautious tape there, I always say, in terms of maybe pitching in, maybe the fear of hitting somebody or missing in. So we really work on sequencing. We work on what is swing intentions. What do they look like? Are they early? Are they late? Are they on time? Are they grooved? Can they handle vertical? Can they handle ride? Do they chase? There's no chase. 2-strike discipline. They hurt. Do they hit early in the count? I mean, there's so many factors when you talk about putting the 2 and 2 together. When you're talking about matching that hitter, we watch a lot of synergy. We watch a lot of tape. I don't like numbers being given to me. I want to see visual, pitch by pitch, how they handling counts, how they handling the previous at bat. They've struck out twice. They're going to come up swinging on the third. There's a bunch of gamemanship that you got to be in at the ballpark to really know it. For me, you got to know what's going on within that hitter's mental game. Our job as pitchers is to break that mental game, or at least to have a crack in it, to where you're getting the very anxious hitter, you're getting a very passive hitter, you're getting a very aggressive hitter. They're swinging right out of the hand. Is there a glaring weakness? Is there you don't want to. If there's a glaring weakness and you got somebody where you want to get where you have them, there's no really reason to change until that hitter changes, until that hitter makes that adjustment. Okay, that hitter makes that adjustment. Okay, so we got to go down this little different path of usage. We got to go down this different path of sequencing. So it's a constant cat and mouse game. It's a constant repeating game. I mean, it's so important to be able to repeat yourself and be able to repeat yourself with all the bells and whistles and alarms going off. I mean, and that's hard to do. And all this stuff is very, very hard to do. And that's what they need to learn. Is that's why they have to get with, people that can really teach them these things that will help them develop with inside the game, that they can be able to throw their bullets and throw their pitches when things are, are going off. And it's so important of the sequencing thing. A lot of it depends on combinations. It depends on the pitch before or the pitch before that. I mean, it's not all just about, a lot of times in a fall game, I know I can get this guy out with his breaking ball. The pitcher may know I can get this guy out with his breaking ball. You know what? We're not going to go there. We're going to go down a different avenue to where we have different options to how to get people out. You don't want to be one dimensional. You don't want to be cornered into one path, one usage, overuse of a pitch. I mean, if you get to Mariano Rivera status and you can just sit with one pitch. And, the thing about Rivera is that pitch became so much better for left-handed hitters, toward the end of his career or middle of his career, that people thought, oh God, cutters were always used against the same side hitter. But really, it's much more of a lethal pitch against the opposite side hitter.
Right.
So, but that's, when you can get people out and they know exactly what you're going to do to them, that tells you how good the pitch is. That tells you how good they are. But, even you watch the elite pitchers of today, they have to be able to be different guys. Even though the Verlanders and, the Coles and those guys, they have a lot of the same characteristics and pitch shape and usage, but they're handling the game differently every time that they're inside the game. And they would tell you that is that, they feel good. They don't feel good. This pitch feels better than this pitch. And I feel more comfortable, with this side of the plate or the other side of the plate. I mean, so there's so many variables that I think that goes into pitch development, pitch sequencing, game development. But, I just have to see where those guys are at. I want to see where they're at. Is it pitching 101? Okay, they can go to this next level. Okay, let's teach them a little bit more out of the zone than maybe in the zone. But you can't be pitching on the sides of the plate and when and you can't throw the ball down the middle. You got to be able to, like I said, hit those zero fastballs, hit those layups before you can start moving the ball. A lot of times you'll see secondary pitches ahead of the fastball command. I mean, that's common. Hey, this guy's breaking ball, is really, really advanced. It's almost like he's throwing his fastball, breaking ball in fastball counts and his fastball in breaking ball counts. And, that's a slippery slope for me a lot of times. I still believe in the foundation of the fastball. And I still believe that that's where everything kind of, grows off in terms of the secondary usage and the sequencing part of it, and how a fastball away is a lot different than a fastball in terms of effective velocity and, different timing mechanisms. I mean, your job is to disrupt timing of a hitter. But you have the same delivery, but, sometimes, the ball differentials, the ball location. I looked there at Gagne back in the day, and remember Eric, he threw a pitch at 70, he threw a pitch at 80, threw a pitch at 90, he threw a pitch at 100. I mean, those are big quadrants of coverage for a hitter. I mean, it's 70 to 100. I mean, how do you cover that, right? Not only the areas of the plate, but the speeds of the pitches. So, I think the more complete, and that's why, okay, this guy's a starter. Oh, you know what? This guy's a reliever. This guy is hard. This guy can be hard and he can be soft, and he can, manipulate a little bit more than this guy. So you just got to understand where they're at. And then you might have a superpower pitch, right? You might find a pitch that it changes the whole guy's career. I mean, you've seen guys with your son and teammates and that one pitch took that guy to a whole different level. Or maybe that pitch took him down the wrong path. I mean, it's a little different way of mechanisms and different paths that that you really have to see. And I always say, hey, man, I mean, I got 18, 19, 20, 21-year-olds. This guy may not be really, really good until he's 25, 27, 28, 32. I mean, we only have 3-year contracts, 4-year contracts. We can't sign these guys for 12-year contracts. So our window is pretty small, pretty short, and you better have the right information during that time period for them to grow and develop as people and pitchers.
I'm going to switch gears on you here. We're going to talk about that transition from Pac-12 to Big Ten.
Okay.
You know, you see a lot of familiar faces that you're going to be able to play against, Oregon, USC, but you're also going to be dealing with the Michigans, the Indianas, you know, some of the upper echelon of the Big Ten. What do you think that'll be like for your athletes, not only with regard to travel, but kind of now preparing for a whole different style or brand of baseball?
Well, it's a great question. It's a very fair question. I think the way I would answer it is that we know the West as well as anybody. We've played in the Pac-12 our whole careers. My whole career as a coach at UCLA, so we're very familiar going to Arizona State and Stanford and Cal and Oregon State and it's USC. It's not about, oh God, we've owned these guys. It's not about that per se. But it's just more about familiarity, talent, knowing their rosters, kind of like the back of your hand. You know, those days, I'm going to be challenged. I mean, there's, you know, the Indiana roster, the Nebraska roster, the Purdue roster. I mean, you can name it. And they're in the same boat, certainly, as we are. But I think we're going to get the best of both worlds. I really do. I think we're still going to play a very West Coast, you know, non-conference schedule with some power SECs, you know, coming in or going to the Globe or coming into LA. And then, of course, we have the Oregon States on Tuesday, the Arizona States. I mean, our Tuesdays is as good as any schedule in the country. I mean, it's just, you can't, I mean, the Irvines, the Fullertons, the Long Beaches, you know, the Oregon States, the Arizonas, the Arizona States, the Stanfords, the Cals. I mean, now you're seeing those on midweek. I mean, that's crazy. And then I still think the Big Ten, you know, has a bunch of really, really good teams. I mean, you know, of course, like you said, the familiarity with USC and Oregon and Washington, but, you know, the Michigans, Ohio States, the Nebraskas, the Indianas, you name it. I mean, they have good players and they have good programs. They have good facilities. And so I think we're really looking forward to the challenge and the opportunity, Walter. I think that we'll be able to, be able to go compete in different, aspects of the country. We'll be able to recruit from different areas throughout the country. You got Sunshine on December 10th. You can't argue with what's going on out here. I mean, baseball is an outdoor game. I mean, it's a development game. I believe that, a lot of times is built outside. I mean, it's just, you look at the rosters of major leaguers and things have changed. I get it. The Northeast and the, different parts of the country clearly has developed players at a really great pace. But I just think the challenge of going and seeing different parts of the country, Maryland, we're going to Maryland, we're going to Illinois, we're going to Purdue. And of course we have USC and Oregon. So we're very familiar with those guys. And then you got Penn State coming in, Northwestern coming in, Indiana coming in, Nebraska coming in. We have a Michigan on a midweek here, non-league. We have Michigan State in a tournament, non-league. Connecticut coming in, Vanderbilt coming in, Cal Poly coming in, and BYU coming in. I mean, it's our kids want to play a lot of different people. People always go, oh God, the travel and the weather. And I don't know, I mean, I think the travel will be fine. We are leaving on a lot of Wednesdays on some of these trips and to kind of acclimate yourself for Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then, we're going to be back at it. So it's all new. I don't know how long it's going to last. uh, and you got the Arizonas and the Utahs and the Big 12. And of course, you got Cal and Stanford in the ACC. And I mean, I'm glad we got out when we got out, is how I would say it. I mean, I was shocked. I fell out of my chair when they told me we're going to the Big Ten. I never, ever, I would have bet big money on that if way back in the day, if you were ever going to, the Pac-12 was going to get dissolved and then you're going to go in the Big Ten. I would never, ever guess that. But you got to adapt. You got to adjust. You got to make sure that your roster is doing the same. And, we look at it as an opportunity and as a challenge, really. And we're looking forward to playing at different parts of the country that we've never really played at. And I just hope that, our guys I know our guys are excited. It's just, we'll see and go through the first year and kind of evaluate. And then next year we play the 6 teams that we miss. It's a big conference. There's 16 teams. Wisconsin obviously doesn't play baseball. And so I love playing everybody. I love having a fair conference champion that I've always kind of been in that format at when I was back at USC and then certainly at UCLA and playing those 30 games and 5 at home and 5 on the road and everybody playing each other. It's the true champion always came out of the league. There wasn't any question on who the champion was. This deal is a little different just because we're missing 6 opponents, and so I'm hoping they kind of can kind of figure that out a little bit and make sure that it's a balanced schedule. But there's no complaints, and we're just kind of going with the wave, man, and looking forward to the opportunity.
Last question, Coach, and I would be remiss if I didn't broach this topic with you because I think that you can shed a little light to this. Next year, moving forward with regard to the settlement, I mean, everybody is held to the same standards, plays by the same rules. What are your thoughts as far as with regard to recruiting in the December 1st time period for the roster cap? Is this going to create a chaotic environment a year from this time next year with regard to that roster being finalized in the latter half of the fall as opposed to the early half of the fall? Do you think that that's going to create some uneasiness for the high school athletes moving forward?
Well, that's a good question. I'm okay with the 34. I prefer the 34 to begin at the fall. I really do. I think we've never cut anybody in December. We've never cut anybody in January. We've always brought in the right amount of guys, and that was our roster. I mean, we just can't bring in 60 guys and cut 20 guys in December and have them go other places and we get them in through UCLA. It doesn't work that way at UCLA. So I wish that players were getting treated more fair. Excuse my English, but I just think that I don't like the concept of kids thinking they're going to be at a school for 3 years and then they're gone by their first Christmas. That's just not right. It's just nothing's right about that. And the tryout model is a poor model in terms of bringing in 60, getting down to 40, 40 down to 34, 38 to 34. I mean, I think, the injury thing, the pitcher injury thing is I guess the asterisk in this whole thing is making sure that you have plenty of arms and you're not, walking in, with on one leg into the first game of the year with a depleted pitching staff. Nobody wants that. But I think when we won a national championship, I think we had 31, 32 players. It's about health. It's about having the right guys. I hope that somehow that can get resolved and that there's not all this madness going on in December with guys leaving and then they're not eligible to go. It's a 4-2-4 operation or they have to go and get their AA and they're gone by their January, their first January. I just hope that college baseball can clean it up. I really do. I just hope they can clean up the roster, the metrics of the roster, the timing of the roster. Is there a little space there for injuries and Tommy Johns and labrums and injuries that are guys that are going to be done for the season? You got to put that into some sort of consideration. But I feel for the high school player. I really, really do. I mean, we're about 99% of our roster is built through high school players, and that I want to win with that model, and I want to really prove to ourselves that that you can recruit and you can develop. I want programs to be based off who they recruit and who they develop, and that's how I think programs should be judged. Now, maybe I'm living in old times, and the portals clearly changed that. I mean, and I'm all for NIL. I'm all for people be able to move. I just think it needs to be regulated more to where that these high school kids are not being blindsided. I mean, they're not being blindsided by roster space. They're not being blindsided by these 9, 10, 11 portal players that come in August. I just, I want to judge coaches off how well they coach, how well they recruit, and how well they develop. I think that's the ultimate box when I look at a coach. That's how I evaluate coaches. Can they coach? What is their specialty? Offense, pitching, hitting, defense. What type of eye for evaluation do they have? And then what type of coach are they? How do they build their cultures? I want to look at coaches and say, boy, that guy can really coach. That guy can really develop. That guy can really evaluate. And I know people have their strengths as I do and weaknesses as I do. I mean, not everybody has those combinations as a coach. That's why you have different people on your staffs. That's why you have, assistants that are great offensive coaches and great defensive coaches and specialty coaches per se. And, a lot of guys don't do what I do. I mean, I don't know how many pitching coaches that are still head coaches. That model is probably, now you have assistants that help with that pitching stuff. And you have director of player developments and you have different analysts and, you're getting a lot of different people now that are touching these guys. And that's a good thing. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but I just hope that college baseball can clean up the model. I really do. I think it's in a great place in terms of viewership and excitement. Professional baseball clearly wants guys to go to college, just because of the 20 round draft and that model. At least the owners do for sure. I know the scouts have to clearly do their jobs, and their job is to acquire talent, like ours job is. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of guys that are in college, and there's a lot of guys staying in college, and there's guys that it's hard to get drafted today, as you know. Very difficult to get drafted now today. And, it takes – everybody has a clock. Some guys are ready right away. Some guys aren't ready till their sophomore year. Some guys – I've had guys that are not very good for 3 years, and they're really good seniors. I mean, everybody's clock is a little different. So I just hope that college baseball can get it right in terms of handling people, I guess you would say, and ultimately be fair to players, be honest with players, and then ultimately put the player in the right position. And then the game will tell them where they fit eventually. Are they at too high of a level? Are they too low of a level? Are they in the right spot? A lot of that won't come out until the end, but I think it's just in terms of being honest and fair to the player, I think college baseball definitely needs to clean itself up.
Well, Coach, I want to say thank you for taking the time to talk with us today. I really, really appreciate your time. I think it's tremendous insight, particularly for parents of pitchers, high school pitchers, of which I was one a long time ago. I think it's invaluable, the information that you share with athletes and obviously with their parents. I want to encourage parents. You want to find out about Coach Ward, Coach Gallego, Coach Barnes, the staff at UCLA. Go ahead and get into the Baseball Blue Book. Find out how to reach out, how to find out about the camps at UCLA. I think personally, not only if you're on the West Coast, but if you're looking to be a part of the college baseball experience, learning from someone such as Coach Savage and the staff at UCLA, you can find out all of the information about upcoming camps, about their schedule. Go ahead and download the Baseball Blue Book app from Google or Apple app stores. Find out, reach out to the coaching staff, and see if you're part of the potential Bruin experience for your college experience as a student athlete. Coach, thank you so much. Best of luck in 2025 and beyond, and I hope to catch up with you out in D.C.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate you having me, and I just wish everybody the Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, and looking forward to 2025. Thank you.
Merry Christmas, Coach.
Thank you.